Women of Reddit, what's your cringy nice guy story? The one that was the most upsetting was a guy who had been my friend for years, who I was close to and confided in, telling me my boyfriend at the time had cheated on me. I wanted to confront the boyfriend and this friend kept dissuading me, telling me to just drop contact with him, and trying to comfort me with physical contact. Obviously I still confronted my boyfriend. He said no such thing happened, and it turned out my friend had made it all up. We met on OkCupid and after like 2 weeks decided to go meet. We both weren't into coffee so we decided to eat a dinner together at his place. We agreed to meet at the mall to buy groceries. He couldn't decide even one thing, but when I would take a certain brand he would mention how his grandmother would take some other. At the end I made him to pick at least one thing appetizer, thinking of soup or something, so he picked blueberries. I paid. We came to his apartment. He couldn't cook which I didn't mind, but he didn't even feel like helping. While I was making the sauce he mentioned things like that I am not intelligent enough because I suck at math and wasn't interested in it when he was reading his math book to me for 5-10 minutes. That it annoys him me not being interested in video games. He blushed when I joked and said word PSY and also got frustrated when he read Jesson into me and I wasn't that interested. Then we finally sat and ate. He commented how his mother does it better, but he also ate pretty much everything. Then all of a sudden he stood up and said now we should kiss and cuddle. Of course not. I offered to wash the dishes. He didn't even help. I felt sorry for him the entire time. That's why I just didn't leave. I kept waiting for it to escalate, but it just got sadder and sadder. The worst part was that I thought that we'll never see each other again because the date sucked, but afterwards he became quite annoying. Like going on some trip just because I was in the group and such. My move at the time was instead of telling him that I am not interested I started doing weird stuff like buying Playboy magazine that he cools off. So not a stereotypical nice guy really, but I met him at a party, gave him a ride home and after belting out Don't Stop Believing together, he asked for my number. We went on one date and texted for a week. Then Saturday morning, I woke up to 50+ texts that started with asking what I was doing, sleeping because I worked in the morning, and went all the way up to I should just off myself since no one wants to talk to me. I told him that was unacceptable as I had already told him I worked Saturday morning, but even if I hadn't there's no reason to text me over 50 times. If I'm not answering, I'm not answering. He whined about being so nice, and how good he was to me and blah 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 blah. Thankfully, when my friends asked why I was ignoring such a nice guy, showing them the texts was enough for them to drop it. I always find it way more mortifying when the story starts off with totally normal and cute behavior. I work retail, and have for more than 25 years. I once, about 9 years ago, when I worked in a liquor store, had an older customer that would come in, and, I thought, play flirt with me. A lot of customers play flirted with me, so I didn't think anything of it. Plus, this guy was, like, twice my age and I was no spring chicken. I had no idea that he seriously thought we were really flirting, until one day, Darty asked me out, not in a regular way, mind you. Oh, no, he said, so, we've known each other for a while, now I'll just wait until you're off tonight, and then we can go out. I'll take you to expensive restaurant. I politely declined. He went ballistic. Long story short, the manager banned him from the store for life. Thank God. There's something truly shta about seriously trying to flirt with someone at their place of work, since they can't escape and, usually, have to be nice. I'm a girl, but this story is about my husband and how he caught the bad end of a nice guy. A few years before I met my husband, he decided to go to a party. He gets there and some random girl walks up to him, says you're cute and kisses him. This amused him, so he started chatting with her. While chatting, he notices a very angry, short man standing next to her. The man is scowling at my husband and it's making him uncomfortable. He can tell the guy is pissed at the attention girl is giving him, and it's just not worth it. So he stops talking to random girl, turns away, and starts walking to another room. It's at this point husband feels short man punch him in the back. When he turns around, short man is running away and actually runs out of the house and never returns to the party. Husband laughs it off, cause it wasn't even a hard punch. But then somebody notices husband is bleeding. and there is a hole in his shirt. The short FA hadn't punched him. He stabbed him. Random girl saw this all go down and was pretty mortified. Turns out the short dude was obsessed with her. They were best friends, and he accompanied her everywhere. The knife was pretty small, so it didn't do any real damage, but he still has the scar. I have so many, but I just remembered this one, so I'll go with it. I met this girl in a seminar I was attending. She was super nice and I really liked her, so we became friends. It was her birthday a short time later, and her boyfriend at the time arranged a party bus as a surprise party. I wasn't drinking at the time, but I figured I'd go and hang out for a while. What could go wrong? Right when I got there, one of her guy friends decided he thought I was cute. That's fine. I mean, whatever. I had never met him before, so we exchanged names and the conversation pretty much stopped there. The bus gets there, we all get on, and people start getting progressively more drunk. That's fine. I like to party and being around drunk people didn't bother me. Well, this one girl got really drunk and decided she wanted to go home with me. She came and sat by me and started to get a bit handsy, so I did the butt scooch migration slowly to the other side of the seat. Other guy from before sees this, comes and sits on the other side of me, and halts my butt scooch migration. They start getting in a drunken argument over who gets to take me home. Mind you, I'm not going home with anybody, but try telling this to these two profoundly drunk people. Drunk girl figures out that if she tries to give me the world's drunkest lap dance, that drunk guy will get progressively more upset. I keep getting up and moving to different parts of this bus. Things were getting weird. We finally get back to the house and it devolves into a drunken house party. I decide it's time for me to go. I go for one final bathroom trip since it will be a long drive home. I keep getting stopped by random party goers on the way out telling me that drunk guy is very upset and I should go talk to him. I look outside and drunk guy whom I have spoken to for all of 30 seconds ever is sitting on the sidewalk sobbing and all his friends are around him, trying to cheer him up. Apparently, some girl he is in love with doesn't love him back. I'm told it's me. I walk outside, crouch down and apologize that he's sad. I wish him a good night. He starts to cry again. I walk to my car and leave. That was a really weird night. The whole story I kept flipping between thinking OP was male or female, gay or straight, on the edge of my seat. Woman here. Sorry, I know that wasn't obvious in the post lol. Kept trying to hug me. Like every time he would see me, I'd never hug him back, yet he kept trying. I was a work study then, and he'd go to where I work just to see me. I'd be walking down the hallway with the professor and they'd watch this guy 5x the size of me open his arms to hug me as I walked by him. IDK if it counts as nice guy, but it was really cringy. Where's my hug? I'll help you look for it. I went on a first date with a guy. Casual date for coffee. It wasn't terrible, but it was obvious that we didn't really click that well. He did the typical nice guy stuff during the date where he talked about how he was different from other guys, knew how to treat a woman, some talking down on gym bros, etc. I ended the date pretty quickly as I wasn't really feeling it, and had just gotten off of midnight shift, so it was past my bedtime. He insisted on walking me to my car and opening the door for me. Fine. Whatever. Then he hugged me, and when we went to break apart, he tried kissing me. I turned my face and he immediately got agitated, blocked me from entering my car and said, "What? No kiss?" I'm a pretty easygoing and tolerant person, but that was the first time something like that had ever happened and I immediately felt a slight bit of fear, as the guy was blocking my car and was about 6'4", so much larger than me. I immediately put on my super serious face and said, "No, sorry, I really need to be getting home now," and luckily he moved. Took a bit of a break from dating after that. Ordinary guy here. Here's my reverse nice guy story. I get out of work. It's effing cold outside. I stop and get a hot chocolate from a walk-up vendor. I am vaguely aware that someone is in line behind me. I'm feeling charitable. I pay for two. Tell the guy I'm paying for the person behind me. Please tell them to pay it forward. Take my chocolate. Pay, walk away and don't look back. Never even glanced at the person behind me. Walk to the corner and I hear "excuse me." I ignore it because it's a city and I don't respond to yelling. This woman rushes up and tells me that she's flattered I'd buy her a hot chocolate but she really and truly could accept, and goes on about how she has a boyfriend. I say, just pay it forward. I start to cross the street walking away from her. She follows telling me how serious she is with her boyfriend and they are practically engaged, and how it would be weird for him if she tells him she let some guy buy her a drink. This actually went on for around a half block. Then I told her that she didn't have to drink her hot chocolate. Then I quickly ducked down the stairs to a subway station I didn't intend to ride, just to extricate myself from the situation. Now I just ignore everyone in the city like everyone else. Wow. She would get on great with the crazy old lady I met one day who suddenly started screaming at me for stalking her. I was walking to the shop, the one focal point of large and crowded but otherwise bland and featureless suburb. Random old lady. Hey, I know what you're up to. Stop stalking me. Pardon? I said stop stalking me. I saw you following me. I am not following you just because I am walking behind you. But then you crossed the road at the same time as me. I'm not stupid. Leave me alone or I'll scream. I crossed the road because I am going to the shop, just like you. Ha. You can't fool me. You've been following me for 2 blocks. I'm calling the police. That only proves that we started from the same point, and you know what? Call the police if you want. I then got the hell out of there because it was a shitty suburb, and I strongly believe the police would probably believe the frightened old lady over the slightly ethnic looking 30-year man. I've chatted with guys, usually acquaintances at a party bar get together, who get angry and offended if they find out I'm not single or not looking to go home with them. Even if it's basic small talk or we're chatting as a part of group and there's zero flirting involved, you're treated like you're intentionally leading them on or wasting their time when all you did was talk about work or the weather. Hey, you asked if I was interested and I immediately set the story straight. I was at a Halloween party in college with my boyfriend and friends. They were getting drinks, so I was standing by myself for a few minutes and a guy came over and started talking to me. I chatted with him and put in that I was with my boyfriend. He said, "You have a boyfriend? Why did you even go out then?" and left. Like he expects every girl out partying to be single and available for him. Oh geez. I went to school with a nice guy, neck beard, anime katana sword wielding, Amphibidus kinda guy. He would talk about how girls only like the big jock guys and how they neglect the smart intellectuals like him. He also talked about how he was waiting for a girl to be smart enough and good enough for him. Which doesn't make any sense at all, but okay. He weighed about 90 pounds, had vampire pale skin and bleach blonde hair which he wore at an awkward to long in the front length so it could cover his eyes. He started hanging around where I would eat lunch my freshman year of high school. No one wanted him around, but we were nice and we would just smile in a way neck but would get way too close to me, making up reasons to touch me. I am really short, so he would set his arm on my head, grab my shoulders just awkward and wanted touching. So I told him to hey maybe don't touch me. He did not get the message. In fact the not so sly hair smelling weird touching increased and I said zip cause I was shy. Well, he got my number from one of my friends and started sending me those creepy asterisk messages. Example, hey good looking, walks over to you and puts arm around you, I missed you, runs hand over your soft hair, hugs you, feeling your nice boobs press against my strong manly chest. I didn't respond and they just got worse and worse. He sent me a shirtless photo that nearly blinded me. I texted him telling him what he was doing was making me uncomfortable, but that didn't stop him. He started asterisk texting me about how he was gonna RE me and how I was gonna call him daddy and like it. I learned how to block someone on Verizon that day. I never told anyone about it. I had to go to 4 years of high school with this kid getting too close, making me so uncomfortable. A guy at a bar bought me a drink, even though I really tried to not accept it, and he asked me if I was single. I told him that I was dating someone and he took the drink back and called me an ugly girl. Okay, haha. Met a guy at college who seemed like a wayward out of towner that wasn't having any luck in the friend department. Word was he moved up from Cali, so we started working as semi-study buddies. He was taking courses for a different major but they were courses I had done already. He knew I had a boyfriend but decided one day to ask me to dinner. I specified as friends, and his response was something like sure, or it could be a date. The fact that I was in a long-term relationship didn't seem to make a difference to him, so I declined. After that my courses got switched to online courses, so I stopped seeing him as much, until he added me on Facebook and started trying to ask me out again. I finally told him no, that if he couldn't respect my current relationship enough to lay off the date attempts, that we didn't need to be friends. Then he went uber religious on me, started preaching at me constantly that he was terrified about my destiny of going to hell and wanted to save my soul so that didn't happen. Basically just admonishing every single decision I have made as a person and determined like no other to convince me that my sinful ways would undermine me in every way. Kept saying he didn't want to see his friend go through that. I told him forcing his religion down my throat was a surefire way of pushing me away permanently, and proceeded to block him. I gave him a lot of chances to understand that what he was doing wasn't cool, but he was so convinced that he was just being a nice guy. I was sitting at the bar by myself and this guy in a fedora comes up to me and we just start talking. He seems okay. We got into some casual conversation. Then he starts talking about how he thinks girls should be nice to him if he does something nice for them. That is, open the door for them or buy them a drink. I tried for a solid half hour to get him to understand that a girl was not going to fall head over heels for someone who thought that opening the door for them meant that they were a knight in shining armor. I tried very hard but he just would keep talking over me. The fedora was an immediate red flag. The fedora was an immediate fedora.